the Enron trial heats up in Houston, it appears the tide may be turning against Ken Lay and Jeff Skilling. Traders at Ireland-based Intrade are betting that there is a roughly 65% chance that Lay will be found guilty of at least 4 of the charges that were brought against him. Skilling, meantime, faces a 73% chance that he will be convicted of at least 16 of the charges that he faces. Michael Knesivich is the director of communications at Intrade. He's with us in the studio this morning to talk about the latest contract prices. Now, it sounds like things aren't looking too good, at least from where the traders stand on this.
The traders are betting that both will be convicted, and the markets, the Intrade markets on politics and legal affairs have an uncanny ability to predict the future.
Does it change day by day based on what's happening in the hearings?
Yes, absolutely. And now we're into week 2 of the trial. The markets have tightened up. They were very volatile the first week. We'll start to see market reaction now coming out of the trial. Because it's a federal trial, there's no cameras in the courtroom.
Right.
So traders are going to have to piece things together from what they see in the news.
What was the one issue that you think really pushed things over the edge against Lay and Skilling? Was there one day of testimony?
There's so much more to come. Apparently, the defense lawyers are trying to paint the government witness as someone that may not have had all the information on what Ken Lay and Jeff Skilling knew. That's the strategy right now. Clearly, it's not working if you look at the in-trade markets.
What's the track record on something like this? I mean, what did you guys do? What was the prediction on Martha Stewart? Because that was a federal trial where you didn't have cameras, and I always thought the press really made too much out of her case. When I was covering it, I thought she was going down from almost day one.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very interesting. The political contracts we list have a much, much higher, almost rock-solid probability of predictive value. Regarding trials and legal affairs, that's a little more difficult because there's that disconnect that traders have from the trial. If you're not in there physically or you can't see what's going on, it's a little more difficult. For example,
is this a good predictor or not?
It's less than politics, but it's still very high. I would say.
What's the percentage?
Did you get Richard Scrushy? Yeah, that's what I was going to.
Got that?
You did? Richard Scrushy, right? That's pretty good.
Michael Jackson trial, for example.
Did you?
The market was split on that. We listed 2 contracts. One, that he would be found guilty of molesting a child, and 2, that he would be guilty of using an intoxicating agent. Now remember, going into jury deliberations, the judge disconnected those, and he said, for intoxicating agent, you merely have to find him guilty of administering an intoxicating agent and not just for the purpose of molestation. So that made the probability of finding him guilty for intoxicating much higher. But the market said he would probably not be convicted of molestation, but thought he would be convicted of an intoxicating agent.
What did you do on Martha, by the way?
Me personally?
No.
The markets?
Yes.
The markets thought that early on, thought that she would be convicted. And the news was very much against her. So, again, very high predictive value for these contracts.
Michael, we appreciate your time this morning. We hope you come back soon and talk about some of the political contracts as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Michael Knesivich, again, is the Director of Communications at Intrade.
What are you seeing for 06?
06, probability is that the Senate's a lock for the GOP.
But lose some seats?
They might lose some seats, but in the House, the Democrats need 15 seats. It's not likely. Some very interesting moves over the summer when President Bush was getting hammered on his Iraq stance. And as you remember, in November sometime, he came back and started hitting back. And also the NSA wiretapping flap kind of blew up. And the White House reacted very
And that's already passed? The NSA flap has already passed?
Well, the markets are saying we like President Bush fighting back. The markets are saying the probability for the Democrats to maintain their lead in the House, increased because President Bush fought back so aggressively.
All kinds of other good stuff. We don't. But for around 13%, somebody bombs them by the end of when? 06?
By June of 06.
By June of 06, 13%. Israel or the U.S.
Or the U.S. and almost a 36% probability by March of 07.
How accurate have you been on that kind of stuff?
Interesting. It's not, in my mind, it's not accuracy of it, it's trends. When you see, you know, news and you see how the markets trend, that gives the financial markets a lot of information.
Thanks, Michael. We got a bonus bonus round from Michael Knesivich, Director of Communications at Intrade. And coming up.